This list is the most cringeworthy, anger-inducing guide to how to do dirty business. There's no end as to how these companies dodge and dive the laws and environment, all in the name of profit. So let's hold people accountable and dive into the sordid world of the 15 worst things people have done for money. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Number 1. Coca-Cola stealing water. Behind your favorite fizzy beverage is a sordid world of unequal pay, assassinations, and stealing water. But we'll just stick to one of their major human rights violations for today. In Plachamada, Kerala in India, Coca-Cola extracted 1.5 million liters of deep well water. This was bottled and sold as Dasani and Bon Aqua bottled water. The groundwater was depleted, and thousands of local communities were affected. Not only was there a severe water shortage destroying local agriculture, but the remaining water became contaminated with chloride and bacteria and led to many health problems. Number 2. The dirty dozen of the deforestation of the Amazon. It's not just fair to blame the Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro for the destruction and fires ravaging the Amazon, nor is it fair to put blame squarely on the commodity traders like Cargill, JBS, and Mafrig, who profit from trading this natural resource like a commodity. Nor are the banks and investment money behind them like BlackRock, JP Morgan Chase, Santander, BNP Paribas, or HSBC solely responsible. It isn't only the large-scale cattle farmers who we can take aim at, nor all the retailers that stock products made from the Amazon's natural resources, like Leclerc, Stop Shop, Walmart, and Costco. And you can't blame all of the consumers who buy the products and make the business viable. The truth is, the entire system is broken, and people will stop at nothing to make money, no matter the cost to life or our planet's future. Number 3. Testing on animals. It's hard to pin the blame of animal testing on just one cosmetic and hygiene product company, but the practice continues in the race to find the latest and greatest anti-aging and plumping cosmetic product. This awful practice of testing cosmetics on animals is banned in many countries, including Colombia, the European Union, United Kingdom, India, Israel, and Norway. But don't be fooled. This doesn't mean that products tested on animals are not sold in these countries. It just means the testing doesn't take place on their shores. The startling thing is that for a long time there have been alternatives to testing on animals. Artificial human skin offers scientists that alternative. Artificial skin can imitate the reaction actual human skin will have to a product, and the chemicals it contains can often be altered to mimic different types of skin and ages. Other lab-grown tissues and even synthetic organs can be used for testing instead of animals, and research companies can also use body parts and organs taken from animals slaughtered in the meat industry to perform tests on organs like the eyes, which are otherwise a waste product. There are plenty of other alternatives, but these all cost money and time, and unfortunately, the pursuit of profit is far more alluring to many companies than the pursuit of ethics. Just remember, as a consumer, you get to show your support with your dollars and can spend your money according to your own conscience. Number 4. Bell Pottinger and their influence on South African politics. Bell Pottinger was one of the largest PR firms in the world. They were hired by the Gupta family to boost their PR and aggravate racial tensions and promote former President Zuma. The campaign was a sustained, dirty campaign and was uncovered by journalists in 2016. The campaign played on racial animosity in South Africa. They created fake news articles online, all to benefit the Gupta-owned Oak Bay Investments. Thankfully, Bell Pottinger was served their just desserts and was publicly disgraced and expelled from the PR professional body. However, in South Africa, the damage was done and is only now coming to light in a lengthy state capture tribunal. Number 5. Facebook Cambridge Analytica data sale. What happens when someone steals from 50 million of their clients? Nothing really. They mostly just continue to like and share and make you advertising revenue. When CEO Mark Zuckerberg sold data he had gathered from 50 million Facebook profiles without their consent, it seemed like something that would be enough to shut down a business. But despite admitting to the data sale to Cambridge Analytica, it was business as usual at the old Book of Face. It has brought a lot of public awareness to digital theft, but when people weigh up sharing baby photos with everyone from their high school class over personal privacy, it seems the likes and shares win hands down. But it's not all bleak. Stick around until the end where we reveal how the little guy is beating Goliath as we speak. Number 6. VW crooked the environmental books. In 2015, VW was ordered to pay a $4.3 billion fine for trickery. This wasn't your usual April Fool's prank, no. For years, they had knowingly installed software into their diesel car engines to override the emissions data results. The Environmental Protection Agency sets standards of acceptability that determine that a car is not emitting more pollutants than what is acceptable. The company's leaders were taken to task and accused of fraud and false advertising. Number 7. Johnson & Johnson talc caused cancer. In a landfall win of a group of 22 women and 6 who've passed away in the U.S. state of Missouri were awarded $550 million in compensation and $4.1 billion in punitive damages against Johnson & Johnson. And this was just the beginning. The producer of the most popular baby powder has a further 9,000 legal cases against them regarding their baby powder. So, what's the story? Well, the court found that Johnson & Johnson had been selling their talc powder since the 1970s, knowing it was contaminated with asbestos. Asbestos is a highly dangerous substance that causes cancer, and in the case of the 28 women, ovarian cancer. Talc is a mineral mined from the ground and often found near asbestos deposits. Number 8. H&M and New Look benefit from child labor. Thankfully, child labor has been on the decrease, and since the year 2000, there's been a decline of 30% in child labor numbers. But this still means that in 2020, an estimated 100 million children are still trapped in child labor arrangements. 2 fast fashion brands that are still benefiting from the low wages and lack of human rights of child labor are H&M and New Look. Swedish retailer H&M takes advantage of Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Cambodian child laborers, paying them as little as 13 pence an hour for their work. In an official statement, H&M doesn't seem to feel they're doing much wrong, as they pointed out that the legal working age in Myanmar is 14. UK-based New Look has a slightly more ethical and moralistic approach to the situation and have pledged to work with suppliers and partners in Myanmar to address the findings of a study finding the use of underage workers in their factories. They've promised to make right by removing underage workers from their factories and make sure that they've returned to school and are reimbursed with a similar wage. Number 9. Microsoft and Apple, child labor. 2 companies from the tech industry benefiting from nimble children's hands are Microsoft and Apple. Apple has even admitted that their popular iPhone X was made by school children. In 2013, a Chinese tech factory producing the X handset employed 74 minors to do the work. In 2018, again they were caught in the act when it was discovered that children under 18 were manufacturing Apple Watches. But this time they wised up, and the work was done under the disguise of an internship. Sadly, the same factory also produces products for Dell, Amazon, and Siemens. But that's not the worst of it. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, an Amnesty International investigation claimed that children as young as 7 years old were mining for the precious metal cobalt for Microsoft. The grueling conditions involve exposure to toxic chemicals and a hostile work environment of 12-hour days for children. Microsoft did commit to eradicate the practice, and there's been some changes on the ground in the DRC, but there's still a long way to go to meet international labor standards. Number 10. Caterpillar is a homewrecker. For years, the Caterpillar company has been selling their bulldozers to the Israeli military for sole use of destroying Palestinian homes. They supply specifically modified D9 and D10 bulldozers that can do the job of flattening a home with the most efficiency. Ugh. The international community has criticized them, but Caterpillar refused to end their corporate participation in the war-torn country. Many people believe they are complicit in the human rights violations of the situation. In a letter to Caterpillar CEO James Owens, the Office of the UN High Commissioner on Human Rights said, "Allowing the delivery of your bulldozers to the Israeli army in the certain knowledge they are being used for such action might involve complicity or acceptance on the part of your company to actual and potential violations of human rights." In 2003, peace activist Rachel Corrie was killed by a Caterpillar D9 military bulldozer. She was trying to block the destruction of a family's home in Gaza and was run over. Her family filed a suit against Caterpillar, charging them for knowingly selling machines used specifically to violate human rights. Number 10. International deforestation in the name of palm oil. Wilmar International is the world's largest palm oil trader. They buy their palm oil from 18 of the 25 major palm oil producers that are responsible for 130,000 hectares of rainforest deforestation just since 2015. The 12 brands sourcing the palm oil are also important to note. They are Colgate-Palmolive, General Mills, Hershey, Kellogg's, Kraft Heinz, L'Oreal, Mars, Mondelez, Nestle, PepsiCo, Reckitt Benckiser, and Unilever. So what's the big deal? Well, according to the World Wildlife Fund, 300 football fields of rainforest are cleared every hour for palm oil production. In just a decade, the reforestation has tripled. The human demand for palm oil is only growing. 40% of this deforestation is happening in Papua, Indonesia. This deforestation is pushing many species to extinction. It's draining wet peatlands, making them vulnerable to forest fires. The disruption releases mass amounts of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere, and the subsequent fires make Indonesia the third highest greenhouse gas emitter in the world. Number 12. Pfizer driving up drug prices. Pfizer is your legal drug dealer, but it's questionable whether their practices should be legal. Their human rights violations are numerous, but today we'll be honing in on their dealings around ARVs, or antiretroviral medicines, used by people with HIV and AIDS. Pfizer produces the drug fluconazole. It's an antifungal used by HIV/AIDS patients under the shelf name Diflucan. For years, they've used their monopoly on the market to drive prices up to unaffordable heights. They refuse to sell a generic license of fluconazole to governments in countries like Brazil, South Africa, or Dominican Republic, where the weak exchange rate means that a weekly pill costs as much as $20. They also have a terrible track record for safety standard violations, rushing untested products to market. Number 13. Ford Motor Company. Ford isn't known for fuel economy, but did you know that since 1999, Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs have ranked as having the worst overall fuel economy of any American automaker? What's worse, that despite their advertising claiming that they're greener than ever, their cars have actually become less fuel efficient and release more CO2 emissions than they used to. Ford has also lobbied against lawmakers trying to increase fuel economy standards. Basically, they're the epitome of gas guzzlers, and they aren't really ashamed of it. They just wish everyone would join the carbon party and make it easier for them. Number 14. NBA and the USA-China relationship. Between China and the NBA, it's hard to know who needs more. But like any love affair, there are some hiccups. And after a few late-night tweets by Houston Rockets GM Daryl Morey last October in support of Hong Kong protesters, the relationship got a bit rocky. The Chinese business partner's exit is rumored to mean a $400 million loss to the NBA. The bigger loss would be the estimated $4 billion in revenue the country's fans generate for the NBA annually. That's a lot of clout. And while the NBA publicly supported Morey's right to free speech in America, the tweet was hastily deleted and Morey and the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver did apologize multiple times. But the financial impact remains a worry for the NBA. So another slam dunk for China, proving that even the NBA has to do some fancy footwork to keep them happy. Number 15. Suez privatizes water for a living. Suez, by any other name, is just as immoral. You might know them as Ondeo, Sita, or a number of names they hide behind to dodge the limelight and take vulnerable countries by surprise. According to themselves, They supply clean drinking water to 92 million people across 70 countries and 5 continents. But the truth is, this is done at the expense of poor people living in countries without water, and they rake in billions of dollars in profits, while raising the price of water by 400 to 700% in some areas. What's worse is the mega expensive water they supply to poor communities in Manila, Philippines, was poorly processed and led to an outbreak of cholera, killing 6 people and making 725 others severely sick. The IMF and World Bank are backing privatization by forcing the hand of nations who need access to loans. In order to get a loan, countries have to give up access to their water supply for private companies to sell. So shady. What do you think, Aluxers? What's the worst thing that big business has done for money? We'd love to hear from you on this. Now, since you stuck with us until the end, you definitely deserve your bonus. Aluxers, the small guy can win, so don't lose all hope. Recently, the community of Standing Rock Tribe stood up to the construction of a pipeline project that ran from Bracken oil fields in western North Dakota to southern Illinois, crossing beneath the Missouri and Mississippi rivers, as well as under part of Lake Oahe under the Standing Rock Indian Reservation. This would mean the region's water source would be threatened, as well as disrupting the tribe's ancient burial grounds and cultural lands. On September 3, 2016, during Labor Day weekend, the Dakota Access Pipeline brought in bulldozers and began digging up part of the native graves of the Standing Rock tribe. The tribe, unarmed and peaceful, crossed the perimeter fence to stop the bulldozers. Guard dogs attacked them and pepper spray was used. Since then, the community has been fighting the battle in court and peaceful protests. In March 2020, a United States district judge ruled that the government had not studied the pipeline's effects on the quality of human environment enough and ordered a new environmental impact review be conducted. In July 2020, a district court judge ruled the pipeline should be shut down and emptied of oil pending a new environmental review. In August 2020, the temporary shutdown order was overturned by a U.S. appeals court, but the environmental review is expected to continue, so the delay buys Standing Rock some time to continue the fight. Until next time, Aluxers, we appreciate your thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.